Welcome back to Strategy App Academy, our series of videos on YouTube. Today's topic is blockchain. We would like to discuss with you and provide you some additional information about this topic and see how we can help you, and then how blockchain can help you improve your operational efficiency within your business environment. Let me start by talking about the elephant in the room. Blockchain is not Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not blockchain. Blockchain is not for fraud, and definitely you can benefit out of it. The core principle of blockchain are based on a secured, immutable, trustless, distributed ledger, which is decentralized and that is based on group consensus. So let us explain each term by itself so that we really understand what we're talking about. First of all, security. So why blockchain is secured? It is secured because we are using cryptographic hash. So in its simplest terms, we are just using cryptography where it is very difficult to decrypt the information that is over the blockchain. Immutable. Why we are talking about immutability? In blockchain, you cannot delete a record. You can only read the record and you can update a record. And every time there is an update of a record, it is connected to all the other previous records so that you have traceability from the beginning of the first ever transaction on the blockchain. Why it is trustless? The idea is basically when we're talking about mainly public blockchains, you don't have to know the other party. Like if today you are going to buy a car and you have a broker in the middle, or if you are going to buy a house and you have a broker in the middle, most of the time you don't need to know the selling party as long as you are trusting the person in the middle. However, blockchain is coming here and cutting the middleman. And what it's going to do is taking the role through the cryptography and through the security to make sure that the transaction goes as smoothly as possible and as required without even knowing who is the A party and who is the B party. The other core principle is about distributed ledger. Why we are talking about distributed ledger? If we want to go back to accounting, today we have, let's say, ledgers that are within our accounting department. The CFO is owning the ledger. And then all the time you need to reconcile either with a vendor, either with your bank, or internally every time you have a report. And then human error can occur. And then if someone is changing something in this ledger, then you will not have a positive reconciliation. And then it is lots of work. Either we want to take it as human error or because of intentional sabotage or changing of numbers. When we're talking about distributed ledger, this means that all the parties who have access to this ledger will have the same ledger, the same version of the ledger. So this means that we can compare ledgers and we can say, oh, okay, you don't have the right one. Now, how can we enforce which ledger is the right one? This is where we come to group consensus. In blockchain, group consensus is very important. You need to have 51% of the involved persons or entities saying yes, that this is the right version of the ledger, and then the ledger will become the truth. So this means that if we are 3 people in the room, 2 of us have the same format, and 1 person has a different version, and person A and B who have the same version will say, listen, you have the wrong one, we are both agreeing, so we are more than 51% in the room, then our ledger becomes the truth. And then we are going to update the ledger of person C with the same ledger which A and B have. Now, let's talk about decentralized. When we say decentralized, again, this goes back to the distributed ledger capability. Today, again, most of the ledgers are owned by one entity, or it is in one headquarter, or it is in one location. So when we talk about decentralized, this is more like we're talking peer-to-peer verification. So everybody on the network will have the same version. And then these persons or entities who are on the network don't have to be physically in the same location. They are owning the ledger and they are storing the ledger on different devices all over the world or wherever they are. And this is why there is no one single point of failure. What's the difference between the private blockchain and the public blockchain? This is very important for us to understand, especially when we want to discuss about blockchain within a business environment. The most common example of a public blockchain is Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency which is traded by anyone who has access to any kind of platform or trading platforms where you can buy and sell the currency. So this is very simple, like everybody can read the information and everybody can write the information. So every time there is a transaction that is initiated by a person or by an entity, then you write an information on the blockchain and anybody can read. So there is traceability. We can go and see who did, or from a cryptographic environment, which transaction passed at which time. So without really knowing who is the person behind it. However, in business, I believe that we don't need this kind of anonymity, and actually it's more scary for the business environment. Usually for business, we talk about private blockchains. So when we talk about private blockchains, this is, I would say, much more comfortable for a business owner, for a CEO, for a board member, and even board committee to take a decision on. Because here it becomes permissioned blockchain. So this means that you provide access to the persons whom you want to provide access to, and you can even define the level of access. Is it a read access? Is it a write access? So you have much more control. You have a much smaller group of people who have access to this kind of blockchain. But again, we can have another example where you have a private blockchain which is also readable by the many, but where a few can write. So for example, if you go to the elections, if you want to do elections over a blockchain, basically everybody can write, meaning that everybody can vote. So every vote is a transaction. So when I vote, I write a transaction on the blockchain. However, me as a voter, I don't have access to read the output, right? So there is the officials and the official team who can only read the output and see the statistics, and then you publish. Another example of a private blockchain is when we talk about smart contracts. And basically within a business environment, you can execute a contract without the presence of a lawyer, without the presence of a third party, without the presence of a middleman. If I want to sell something to a person wherever in the world, we can create a smart contract, and we put the money in an escrow account, and then whenever the transaction happens, everything will be automatically paid or delivered to the B party. So this is very important to understand when we talk about a private blockchain, private, closed, or open blockchain. We will have a discussion in different sessions or different videos over our channel on YouTube to discuss in more details about these concepts. Just keep in mind that what we're talking about, what is the difference between the Ethereum and what is the difference between Hyperledger, and we will have more opportunities to discuss about these topics. Now let's discuss and see which industries are going to benefit from blockchain, and how you're going to look at your business and say, am I in the right place? Should I start looking at it? Should I start budgeting for blockchain? Should I start recruiting a team to develop on blockchain? So if you are in any of these industries, and these are just a few, then you are a very strong candidate to start owning the concept of blockchain and to start even discussing it internally. So if you are in an airline industry, if you are in a real estate industry, if you are in a any kind of records, public records, private records, like university degrees, birth certificates, land ownership, home ownership, any kind of proof of ownership, then you are in the right industry. If you are we talked about in the healthcare, if you want to, what we call tokenization, like you can now, any physical asset, convert it into a digital token and then sell this token without selling or without transferring the asset physically to from party A to party B. Also, we'll talk about this later, about ownership and asset transfer within blockchain. So if you are within any kind of this industry, if you are into the finance industry, if you are within the law industry, if you are anywhere which is looking like retail, for example, you want to, let's say you want to have a proof of the source of a produce. Let's say how many times you go to a superstore and you see that this is organic, that this is it didn't use any chemicals in the production of, let's say, the apples. How are you going to have the proof other than trusting what is written on the piece of paper? So imagine you have blockchain where it is tracing the minute they planted the seed of this apple until it was transported and it is now displayed on the shelf. And you can scan a QR code and see every single step and see exactly what kind of chemicals were used, if any were used. Is it really organic? Which are the entities that are that have signed off on this kind of information? So sky is the limit, right? Imagine that you are trying to buy a house and you have a record of inspection, and then someone is going to say, yeah, they just did something on the roof. So this is today's record is showing that they did the work on the roof. Okay, so if you want to talk to the owner and they really want to sell the apartment or the house, they will tell you, yeah, we had a tile that was broken and we just fixed it. But imagine it was recorded on the blockchain and actually there was a huge leakage where there is like a structural damage, and what they did is just cosmetic so that you cannot see this when you are doing a simple inspection. So imagine you have all this information which was recorded and cannot be deleted because it is on the blockchain. Remember, it is an immutable ledger. No one can delete a record. Then you have a whole world of transparency opened for you. So if you are doing business and you are looking for transparency and security, definitely blockchain is for you. Finally, we're going to talk now about the limitations of blockchain, and let us be realistic and let us be truthful to ourselves. Blockchain is still a very new technology. It is changing every day. Every minute there is something new that is happening on the blockchain. So when we want to discuss blockchain within a business environment and to develop a business architecture for a solution, we need to be very careful about how we position blockchain for your business. Again, we're going to talk in a different session about how to qualify if blockchain is the right solution for you or not. However, there are so many positive views of blockchain, but we need to understand that we still have lack of resources, I would say like professional resources to do the development on blockchain or even to design the architecture on blockchain. There is still something that is very important. The way blockchain works today, it works on proof of work. Again, we'll have another session to discuss about all the methods that are using and the different options in order to validate and to have consensus on a transaction. However, today the transaction per second is very low. It can take up to a maximum of 12 transactions per second. So if you are in an industry which is requiring hundreds of transactions per second, then definitely blockchain is not yet the right solution for you. However, a good blockchain architecture is always coupling the blockchain with the traditional technology. So blockchain is not the miracle solution for everything. It doesn't mean that if you develop on blockchain and you have a solution on blockchain, you have to scrap all the technology which you have. At the contrary, all the old technologies are going to complement blockchain technology and they are going to make it a stronger solution for you. So don't just think that I will remove all the systems which I have. It's just like what I will be adding to my current systems and what layer of securities and for which use case. So by this, we are going to conclude this video about blockchain. This is just a very high level, quick summary. I am sure you still have many questions about many terminologies which we mentioned and which we didn't yet mention in this video. So we'll be doing many other videos about blockchain to deep dive in different topics. And we hope that this is going to be beneficial for you and for your business. Thank you for watching this video about blockchain. We hope that you found it beneficial. If you need more information, please get in touch with us and keep on watching our videos on our YouTube channel and visit our website. We are more than happy to provide you with training material, training session, and consulting on blockchain.